And we are live. All right, welcome, Terry. I'm excited to get to know you. Excited to see what your story is and where this conversation is going to take us. And so I like to start with even before you introduce yourself professionally and what you do and things like that. This week, what is it like to be you as a human?
So you broke up a little bit. You said this
Oh,
week?
this week, what is it like to be you as a human?
Oh. This week, what is it like to be me as a human? However, I can only tell you, like in this female body, I'm very girly, so
Okay.
I love to take care and pamper myself. Meaning, I'll just do the body lotions and make sure my hair and do extra things with my hair and stuff. So I love a lot of self care. It makes me feel really good because when I'm taking care of me, I know that I'm providing the best for my clients. And I've been, pretty busy. I love to stay busy. I actually thrive on staying busy. So I've been doing many podcasts this week between my clients, doing social media, uh, getting ready for the holidays. I mean, I'm pretty nonstop.
Okay. Okay. Nice. So what is
Yeah,
it that you
yeah.
do? You mentioned clients a few times. You go on a lot of podcasts, seems like. So what is it that you actually do?
So I'm an intuitive energy healer and psychic medium. I've been doing this work for about 19 years now. I work in the subconscious place. So the place where, right now you and I are speaking consciously and people are listening and that's consciously. But the subconscious is pretty much for what rules our world. You could see the way I'm moving my hands, and you could look at me and say, "Man, there's something about her. I'm just like getting irritated. I don't like about her." And by the movement of my hands, could remind you of your mom or, of your sister.
Mm,
And that's the subconscious that's being triggered. It's that feeling of, man, I don't know what she's doing, but it's not jiving with me. And so that's just one of many different things. But you'll have an interaction, a conversation, and you'll say, "Man, why didn't you just say that? That bugged me." That's the feeling that's being triggered. And that's where I work. I work in that place where you feel it, but you don't know why you're feeling it. So I can tell you about you. I'm not talk therapy. I won't sit there and listen to you endlessly. I'll just get your name, first name, that's all I need, and I'll start telling you there's 5 different ways you can pick up limiting beliefs. So within that, it's usually mom or dad, or mom and dad like figures, like grandparents, God, someone else, and something else. And so within that, I'll determine if it's one of those. I'll figure out how old you are, and then I'll just start telling you, hey, I feel like you're struggling with, like I'm picking up a mom block with you right now. And I'm not going to go into detail because I'm not going to do that, but this is just one segment. And then with a client, I would say, okay, give me a minute. And then I would close my eyes because I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient, which means that with the clairaudient, I can hear things inside of my head. And the clairvoyant is that I can see movies, and the clairsentient is I feel it. And so when I'm working with a client, I'll say, just give me a minute. I'll figure out what that mom block is about, and I'll close my eyes, and then I'll see a movie. But the movie is not going to be about you and mom arguing. It may be two fish swimming in the sea. One jumps out of the water, jumps back in, and swims away. So that tells me someone left the family unit. So it's just based on
wow.
19 years of practice. Yeah. And then I'll pick up the strongest thing that's going on, and then there's multiple. There's thousands from your childhood, the interactions that I'll pick up, and then I'll bring it to your present state and tell you why you're struggling with that, and then shift it from your subconscious. So it's really about working in the space that you're having a hard time putting the pieces together. And so I'm the puzzle piece person. I can put it together for you. Give you the highlight and then help you shift it.
Okay. And you say you've been doing this for 19 years.
Yeah, yeah, a long time. Yep.
Okay. Okay. That's fascinating. So you got basically all of them. Are there any other extrasensory um abilities, or are those the main three ones? Visual,
Mhm.
um, Like auditory and feeling.
Audio. Yeah, yeah. So, you have the smell and so on and so forth. There
Yeah,
are
okay, okay.
six. Now,
Gotcha.
and every once in a while, the smell one will pick up. But the strongest ones are those three that I kind of bounce back and forth because when a person hires me, that might be a 30-minute session or an hour session. And in that space, I feel like there's a lot I need to provide to you to give you the clarity. I want to hit it hard, get the facts, help you, and then by the time an hour is over, there's so much more I could do, but I have to leave it within that space. So using just those three, as I call superpowers, helps me really quick to determine what's going on and how I need to help you.
Mm, okay, okay. Did you train yourself to do this, or did you kind of have the ability all together?
So everyone has it, but I did go through a 1 year intuitive development training to help me fortify, to bring those stronger to my present state. When I was 8, I was hit by a car and I actually
Okay,
died, but I came
okay.
back and I was noticing that life was changing for me. I literally didn't realize that I was a master manifester as a little kid. My parents were very young, and my mom was 18 and had three children,
Wow.
but we were not triplets. So you can imagine,
Wow.
yes, we were not we were not triplets. And so in that state, here you have teenagers raising children. So we ate a lot of pancakes. Our
Mm-hmm.
electricity was cut off a lot because they were
Right,
struggling,
right.
right? And so within that, those are my four walls of seeing money is hard. You have to struggle to
Mm,
get what you want. You have to have money in the bank to buy what you need. My dad was a long haul truck driver, so when he came home, we had to service the man. And so there were so many things that were put upon me that became my conscious subconscious. And now, as an adult, I'm having to get over and through that money is not hard, struggle is not part of my life. And I had to work through that. And then through the intuitive development class, which I now actually teach, that I had to overcome all of the barriers within what I had as a childhood and then start trusting my own feelings, start trusting this energy around me, that it's supporting me, that I can manifest bigger, better, bolder. Even though I was doing it as a child, I didn't realize it. And that started actually after the car accident. Man, you should have seen the difference between what my sister and brother had to what I was receiving. I mean, I was getting the neighbors giving me things, and I wasn't even asking for it. Even to this day, I have this friend of mine. We'll go and just do fun things. We're just good friends. He even says it now every time we're together. He goes, Terry, every time we're together, somebody gives you something. You're always getting something for free. You're always, I say, I live like a rock star.
okay.
Yeah, everybody can.
Did you do this intentionally, like with receiving all of this? Did you like actually do specific work on receiving limiting beliefs, and did you install like new beliefs of like I'm always receiving or I'm always getting something like your brother started saying? Did you, or did it just happen as like a side product of the work and of the training that you did?
So you're talking about two things, if I'm not mistaken, because you said you brought up my brother. So you're talking about my childhood, then you're talking about when I did the intuitive development. So in childhood, when I had the car accident, okay, came back to life, was in the hospital for a month because my jaw was broken and I had several other issues. That because we lived in such lack. So think about it. If your parent was saying no, no, no to you for everything that you're asking for, you would find a way to say, I don't want to hear this anymore. I'm not going to allow that. And so after the car accident, every time I heard NO in my head, I interpreted it as KNOW. So I said to myself, I have to figure out ways that I'm shifting that to KNOW. And so
Okay.
then what I was, yeah, and it was, and I didn't realize what I was doing until in my 30s when I sat back and looked at my childhood and I'm like, man, My mom started telling the neighbors, stop giving me stuff. My mom started sending things back to my grandparents when they were giving me stuff. She was like, no, unless you can give it to everyone. And so I couldn't understand that. But as I was getting older, then I was just like, no, I'm going to get this. I'm going to figure out a way, and then I would just make it happen. And I figured out a way by just sitting quietly, and you can consider it meditating. But at that point in my 30s, I hadn't gone on my spiritual journey yet. But then I just trusted and knew that no matter what, I'll make this work out. And actually, that's my mantra. If you ask my kids, I would say, honey, don't worry. Everything always works out. Don't worry. It's all okay. It always works out. And I just believe that without a doubt.
Okay. Okay. So you already started receiving like this before the the classes, right? And then you just okay,
In a
that's what I
form of
was.
manifesting. Yes,
Okay,
in a
okay, okay.
form. I'm just going to sit comfortably.
Yeah,
Yes,
no
when
worries.
while I was manifesting in a form. But the higher powers, the superpowers that I call them, the clairvoyance and all of that, I never really had that as prominent as I have now.
Mm-hmm.
I did have feelings, that sense of clairsentient, that inner knowing, but that inner knowing I created, like, no way, I'm going to get this. I know it. Yeah.
Okay, well, this all of this is like super fascinating for me. If you spoke to me probably 2 3 years ago, I would be like, yeah, oh my God.
You're too woo
Ah,
woo, right?
yeah, yeah, out of nowhere. Okay, I think we're gonna have to cut this short. Like this is just
But
um,
and I want to talk about that really quick, because when I tell people what I do, if I get this, what is that? That kind of attitude. I ask people, instead of going into that judgmental phase of, like, I don't know what it is, or it must not be great, just shift it into, well, hold on, give me more, help me understand what that is.
yeah,
And then when you go into the space of allowing yourself to be educated on some of the things you may not know, opens doors to other things that'll help you understand on a deeper level. I'm just an alternative way to heal. So I have worked with people that have physical challenges in their body, and they don't have that challenge anymore. Can I tell you the scientific properties of how I healed that? No. Do I believe it as they walked away without the pain? Absolutely. Does it matter how it happened as long as it happened? No, it doesn't. Absolutely let it happen. So if you're open to know that there are other ways out there that can heal you from physical, emotional, or spiritual struggles, hurts, whatever, then be open to try to find another avenue to get the relief that you're asking for. That's all.
yeah, yeah. I think for me, it was always kind of like, oh, maybe that's like too woo, but also just sounds too good to be true in a way. Um, and
Hmm. But I'm not trying to sell you anything.
no,
Mhm. But if you think about it, so I love the way you're thinking. So when someone says it sounds too good to be true, it can be in the form of, think about it, the snake oil salesperson. They're on the stage trying to sell you something that's going to make you feel better. I'm not here to sell anybody anything. I'm here to create opportunities. Either you are struggling with something and nothing else works. May it be talk therapy, may it be, a general practitioner or whatever, and you're still struggling with it, but you're still worried or doubt or stressful or, angry, resentful. You don't want to live that way the rest of your life, right? So if you're coming across, here's an example. So I have clients that are saying, I've been struggling for so long and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then all of a sudden somebody, a friend of mine, told me about you, or I came across, I was on a couple of reality TV shows. I saw you on TV, or I heard you on Good Morning Washington, or wherever the many different platforms I've been on. That, tell me more. If it resonates with you enough that you're like, I don't want to be where I am, I want something else, then open up for that opportunity. That's all. And it's your choice to step into it or not. I tell people, if it's not for you, I love you. I'll send you on your merry way, and that's okay. But if you're struggling and nothing else is working, then it's an opportunity to step into it. I've had many people come to me with resistance and questioning and doubt. But when they're done, there's no more resistance and questioning and doubt.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It for me it definitely took me a while to start becoming more open towards these things. And these days, I'm pretty sure you must have heard about Silva and the Silva method, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that's how I actually started with
oh, there we
meditating.
go.
The
Yes,
Silva
there we
Mind
go.
method.
All
Yes,
right,
yes,
perfect,
yes,
right? So I've been um there's the Silva classes on Mind Valley, right? And I
yes,
started
yes,
and I started going through it like a couple weeks ago, let's say, right? So I'm like in that sense as well, but I've never actually spoken to somebody like one to one who's done
yeah,
who's done all of the trainings and like actually went on to develop all of this. And so
yeah.
that's why I'm like, oh, this is amazing and this is very fascinating for me now. So yeah, it's really awesome to hear. I'm curious in the beginning when you started going through the training and trying to develop this. I think they call it extrasensory perception, right? When ESP, when you started developing it, did you have it like already very were you already very receptive, or did you have your own blockages and like or struggled to start receiving or start training yourself on it?
Yes. So I'm going to put you on pause for a second. When I found them, I was actually looking to supersize into mediumship work, meaning talking to the non-physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't find anybody that was in the United States at the time. Remember, I've been doing this a long time. And I'm like, oh, I'm not sending my money outside of the United States. And so I went on a search to try to find something that could help me in the state of energy or mediumship, psychic work, all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I came across through Mind Valley. So it's good that I know Vishen, I've met him several times. So I found the Silva Mind Method through them, and I bought their course. I'm the type that I'll take a book, I'll read it, and I'll take out what I need. I may not read the whole book. I might get
Mm.
through a third of it or half of it, and I'm like, I got what I need. So with that, I still have the course, and I think I've only gone through three of them. But the key was, I was at the very beginning of my spiritual journey. I didn't even know how to meditate. So I used that. Laura
Mm.
Silva, I met her too personally. She was sitting right next to me when I was at one of the Awesomeness Fest. I went to three of them.
Okay.
And we were talking about meditation and all of that. And so listening to her voice, because she was the one in the recording, taking me down to the deeper level of the mind, because I just got that over and over and listening to that meditation that she takes you down into. So I listened to it every day for 3 months. But I also, now this is so important that everyone is listening to this, because I had to teach myself exactly how to meditate, because she was just taking you down into the deeper level of the mind and what to do when you're down there, but there was so much more about it. First off, lots of people fall asleep. The first thing they do is they lay down. You can't lay down. From the moment we're born, the doctor lays us down. And now when we come home from work, as soon as we lay down, we're comfortable, we're falling asleep. Your body's programmed to fall asleep when you lay down. You have to sit up. So it took me 3 weeks to go through the process of not falling asleep. And I was a
Mm.
single mother at the time with two children. So I had to wake up an hour before I had to wake them up because I was going to do whatever it took, no matter what. So I had to learn now to sit up. I had to learn now not to go to sleep. Every morning, I'd wake up at 4 a.m. I'd get into meditation. I'd fall asleep. It took me 3 weeks before I stopped falling asleep. Then I was reading a book that was about channeling. So I'm not going to go into that because that could be another whole whole show. But I remember in the book it says when you're connecting, you ask, is this my high level guide or is this my angel? And I said, ooh, again, I took it from the book. I'm going to use that in meditation. Now, I mentioned that I was hit by a car, and when I look at everything, it's pixelated, like right now, but it's so tiny, but I can still see all the dots. I
Wow.
had I was hit by a car, brain, all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. And so when I close my eyes, it's grayscale pixelation. And so I will hone in to one of those gray dots. And so when I started, okay, I'm awake, I'm going down to the deeper level of the mind. And then I found that I was going into this dark room and I'm solidly awake, but I cannot process anything else in the room, like physically in the room, but in the subconscious space, I'm now in this dark room. So
Wow.
I decided I'm going to ask, are you my high level guide or are you my angel? Well, over time, these little pixelations turned into a silhouette, just like you're sitting there, your head, your shoulders. I could see that and I'm like, whoa, this is really getting cool. So one day I asked, and the head part shook its head no. And I'm like, what? Shook me out of meditation. I'm like, this is crazy. And as I was going into the second month and the third month, then I started asking for guidance before I went into meditation and I was getting answers. So even one that was so profound, it was very funny, and I'll make this very short. I asked, what's in store for me today? Then I go into meditation and I heard, you're going to get into an argument. Boop, boop, pull myself out of meditation. I said, oh, I got to remember that. Oh, geez, here we go. At the time, I was still working in corporate. So I went into the office and I was a director of sales for a company for a while. And I went in, and director of operations comes in and starts to argue with me. And so I'm kind of like, I'm bold, and I start arguing back. Halfway through this argument, we're screaming at each other, and then I started laughing. And he goes, what are you laughing at? I said, because I knew this was coming. So it was a way, and
That's
I
funny.
was asking, give me proof, give me evidence. Is this real? You're still questioning it when you have a little resistance and going, a little
Mm.
doubt, right? But I call it God, higher self, source, light, all that is, whatever you're going to call it. But I'm going to use the word God. I felt it was a form of God showing me that this is really real. And we're going to show you that this is real. And so over time, it was chiseling away any form of doubt that I had as I was moving deeper and deeper into my practice.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So you said in the first few months you already started and you did it for 30 days every day. Did you do it
I did it
multiple
for
times a day?
no, I only did it once a day because I did it for an hour every morning from
Okay,
4
an
a.m. to
hour.
5 a.m. Yes,
Mm.
an hour every day, 7 days a week. And I was saying it took 3 months for me to get it down, that I
Yeah.
wasn't falling asleep, that I was starting to see how it was forming. I was starting to get answers, and then I continue it to this day. I don't do an hour every day now, but there
Yeah.
are other places that you can meditate. You can meditate in the shower. You can meditate while you're putting the clothes on, brushing your teeth, putting your shoes on. There's these little snippets of time. You don't have to think about anything else. You just open your mind, ask for a question or an answer, and poof, you get it. But
Okay.
this is years of practice. So, but
Right, right,
it's a
right.
lifestyle. Yeah, it's part of my lifestyle. It's what I do.
Mm. Okay. I personally I think I'm pretty good because I've been meditating for a while. So I think I'm pretty good with getting myself to alpha and to like the really like alpha level waves and really relaxed state. But in extrasensory perception, um, not I can't say I have had experiences with that yet. So maybe around right around the corner.
There you go. Just keep practicing
All
and
right,
trust. Trust, trust, trust. You
all
can do
right,
it.
awesome. Thank you for sharing all this. It's definitely is encouraging and makes me more excited to dive deeper into it and do it very very disciplined. Because yeah, it's one thing to see it on videos and like see these people like or hear stories over there like oh yeah like they've done but then speak to somebody who's actually gone through the journey is
Yes.
yeah way different.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know, when you said you're excited now, that's the exact feeling I had that made me wake up. No matter if it was 4 a.m., I would just get excited every
Mm,
morning to want to meditate, to want, because things were slowly shifting. And as I was seeing it, it was bringing more excitement for me. So I'm glad you're saying that because that keeps you going.
okay, okay, amazing. One more thing I'm wondering about maybe completely shift from the uh, I think you'll probably bring it back to it because it's related, but I'm wondering about your financial and business journey, right?
Yeah.
Because you said you grew up in very much lack.
Yep.
How did your journey unveiled since then, and
Yes.
how did you go from lack to abundance?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So I'm so glad you're asking that question. I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today. So remember I said teenage parents, small children, we were not triplets. Our electricity was cut off quite often.
Yeah.
We ate pancakes and eggs a lot for dinner, right?
Mm.
Most of my clothes, that's why I don't wear capris or those cut off pants because that's what I wore growing up. I'm like, no, my clothes don't fit. So I get triggered when I see women wearing those pants that are to their
Okay.
calves. I'm like, that doesn't work for me. So what happens is that we were raised all, and this is generational, okay? My grandparents, my grandfather was in World War II. So him and my grandmother said the only way you can buy things is you have to save for it. Nobody had credit cards. Save, 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 you buy a new refrigerator. Save, 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 you buy a new car. So my parents, they didn't have credit cards. Save, 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 you buy. So now my sister and I, and my brother's a different story, but my sister and I are close. So we were raised save, save, save. So in our 30s, I'm like, I'm tired of being sick and tired of not having everything that I want, that everything I have to buy is used. So I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I said, I'm going to buy a new car. I don't care. I'm going to make this happen. So I'm not saying I'm not living out of my means. What I'm saying is that I'm tired of buying everything used and old. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when I bought the new car, things changed. All of a sudden, more money was coming freely. I was getting bonuses or raises or things that were not so or on sale or discounted or whatever it was. And so then, lo and behold, I started saying, I can buy this new coat. I don't have to go to a discount store. I can buy these brand shoes. I don't have to buy the off brand shoes. So I was slowly moving up to buying the things that weren't used or old or discounted, right? To the point where now I make six figures, drive a BMW, live in an affluent neighborhood, but my sister doesn't do that. She still struggles. She
Yeah.
still buys used and things like that because she didn't step into that where I did many, many years ago, saying, I don't want to live like this. And I knew that I could live in the place that was making my heart sing, that supports me. It's quality over quantity. So knowing that the things that I want support me and I don't live out of my means, I have money in the bank and I just make sure that, what I want, I put my focus on what you focus, you create. And I'm like, okay, I want to do it. And so, like I was telling you, I go around to these places. We went to it's just a good friend of mine. We went to like some, like they have events where might be like a workshops and stuff like that. We were walking around, and there it was. She goes, "Oh, if the two of you buy one of these, she'll get one free." And he starts laughing again. So it's because I look at myself as the magnet to abundance. And abundance doesn't necessarily mean money. It could be fun and adventure. It could be gifts. It could be more laughter. So that extra thing that I got, he was even saying, "Who are you going to give it to?" And I said, "I have a couple other people that I could." So I receive things quite often to turn around and give it to someone else as well, to lift them, to celebrate them, or whatever it is, or just to say thank you with. But when
Yeah.
you know that you are the magnet to lots of fun, lots of adventure, but the key is gratitude. I live in complete gratitude. I am so grateful for these curtains, the light, the opportunity to chat with you, my earbuds, my glasses so I can see you. I mean, it's not just you providing the opportunity, it's all the things in the opportunity and more. And when you live in the gratitude, it just flows through you. And it's like a boomerang back. God's going to say, "Oh, look how wonderful and great that you're loving life and you're fulfilled. We'll just pour more of that into you." It's truly that way.
Okay. That's fascinating. What would you say happened subconsciously, right? Because of course you also very much believe and understand that it all happens subconsciously. So when you said, "Okay, I'm just sick and tired of this, and I'm just gonna start
Yeah.
buying new stuff. I'm gonna live in abundance and things like that," did you still have to do more work on it? Did you have to? Was it a transition, or was it just like a right away, just like things shifted?
So as soon as I bought the car, then it was a transition like, oh, driving, feeling really great, so grateful for what I was able to create, pat myself on the back. Yes, you worked really hard and you deserve it for all the things that you did to create it. Then I would say, what's next? Oh boy, what's next? And then I would almost be open to see things. When I walk down the street, I'm looking on the ground to look for answers or signs of something. I'll see pennies or feathers or butterflies or whatever, and I take those all as answers or signs of something. Okay. So it was once I made the decision, then the transition was a slow one of building up. So I didn't just buy a house, a new car, and new clothes, designer this. I didn't do that. That's putting yourself in debt.
Right. No, I
And
mean,
so, yeah,
I've
go
heard
ahead.
stories of people like winning lotteries, right? Like, "Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah,
sick and tired of being broke," and then just like the next week they win a couple mil. Like, okay, that's wild. Um,
right. It can happen for anyone a certain way. For me, I feel like it was important to have it gradual so that I could see the journey completely and appreciate every step along the way. Not saying that somebody who wins the jackpot isn't grateful and appreciative. It's it's all about the mindset. Where were they living? Were they struggling? Were they, saying I got to have this, so it's important, and then I'm going to promise God that I'm going to do something with it. It really also has everything to do with their mindset, what they've been dreaming of, connecting to God, praying about, if you want to use the word pray, manifesting, all that kind of stuff. So I just felt for me, it was important for it to be gradual so that I can live in the space of presence and be fully grateful for every step. And I truly am. Even the ones that weren't so great, I look back and say, what part of that did I create so that I don't do it again? Were my boundaries fluid so I don't do it again? And so being able to see, reflect, and make shifts and changes along the way.
hmm, okay, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's really awesome. What's next for you?
I love that. Oh, you're amazing. So I I
You-
I was on Real Housewives of Potomac for one episode. I was on Love and Marriage DC for season one and season two. So Love and Marriage is on the OWN network, so Oprah Winfrey Network, and Real Housewives of Potomac was on Bravo. My ultimate goal when I stepped into spirituality or spiritual work, energy work, that, I struggled emotionally going through a 14-year relationship, and I was at rock bottom emotionally. Nobody has to struggle and be in that space, emotional, physical, or whatever pain, right? So my ultimate goal is to be able to show people, number one, there are alternative ways to heal from your subconscious. Exposure is key to me. So my next step is my own show. It is about being a paid main cast member on a reality or a series, a TV series, in order for people to see that this is real, that you can, step into it, opportunities are created, and then to allow you to get out of the pains, hurts, and struggles that you may be going through as well. So that is what I am currently manifesting.
Amazing. Okay. Sounds great. Is this going to be like a mainstream TV? Because when you say like these networks and things like that, I'm a non-American. I don't really watch TV. I don't really understand any of that. So like, how does that work?
Yeah. So Bravo it's a large, well-known platform. They have a lot of reality shows on it. Oprah Winfrey is a pay-per-view mostly,
Mm,
uh, and that's through usually a cable station.
mm-hmm.
So, but then you have Discovery Channel. You have has its own platform now. Hulu has its own platform now. So it can be on any one of those platforms. People aren't usually watching regular TV, quote unquote, anymore. It's
Right.
usually
Okay.
through, yeah, a streaming. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I think I was on a TV show once that was through Hulu, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, what was it?
It was a woman called, no, named Sanet from South America originally. Oh, South Africa, sorry. So South Africa, and she has a company called Self Love for Me, and she's this like super vibrant older lady, and she has a TV show that interviews people about their journey and healing and a little bit of spirituality, but mostly like self love and self care. Yeah, and it
I
was a lot of
love
fun.
it.
The first time I ever met her, like on a virtual coffee, she was like, well, so just so you know, like I start all of my video calls with dancing, and I'm like, what? What? And she's like, yeah, yeah, like send me your favorite song, and we're gonna dance right now. I'm like, what? Like I'm in a coffee shop right now. There's like 30 people around me, and she's like, yeah, well, if you like really don't,
Oh,
if you don't want to, you really don't have to. I'm like, no, let's do it. So like, we just put the phone down, like, in a little tripod, and just started dancing in the middle of the coffee shop with her on the video call. And I just like looked around, people were like, huh? What the hell?
that's
Yeah.
funny.
So she loved it. She was like, "Oh, I love that you dance even in the coffee shop around people." And yeah, she's very vibrant. So it was a lot of fun um to do that. And yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more about my journey as well while we're here.
Yeah.
So I started getting into personal development, not really like the spirituality and like the subconscious advanced stuff, more so like the conscious stuff. When I was 13, I was bullied. My parents were also like, I can relate to being in lack and like you said, hearing no all the time and no this, no that, no. Um,
Hmm.
and my parents would argue all the time. So I developed a pretty bad like social anxiety and depression, and I absolutely hated myself and I hated my life. And when I was 13, I literally was just like, I don't want to live like this anymore, right? Like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of this. And I Googled how to be happy. And I didn't really expect anything like back then, right? I was like kind of just desperate, like, what else am I gonna do? But I actually found, like, started finding answers now. Oh, you can change your habits, you can change your beliefs, you can do this, you can develop a morning routine and things like that. I'm like, oh, like, there's there's advice out here like I didn't know. This is crazy. And so that's kind of how I got introduced into the whole personal development space and started working on myself. And then by the time I was around 19, so let's say 6 years later, I was like speaking to girls on buses on my way to school. I was joining groups of strangers. I was like starting to make videos and doing things. things like
Oh.
that. And I wasn't depressed anymore. I could speak to people. It was like, whoa, this is amazing. And I was like, I think I want to start sharing my journey and maybe become like a mindset coach or at least like a mentor or something like that, that I could share my story and help people who are struggling with mental health and things that I went through. And of course there was like a lot of imposter syndrome at the beginning. Oh, who's gonna listen to your life advice? You're 19-year-old kid, blah blah blah. Got over that, and then just kind of went all in. Was able to dropped out of high school. Oh no, no, sorry. Graduated high school, dropped out of university after the first week. Um,
Mm.
to go into my business and focus on it fully. After I started changed a couple of different jobs, and then in April 2022, I quit my last full-time job and I started traveling full-time with the business. So at this point, I've been to about 22, 23 countries around the world. I'm 24 years old,
Wow.
so I have just a couple countries to catch up with
Wow.
my age, and so it's been a quite a journey as well, and it's been like so many ups and downs and left and right and all of this. And yeah, I started this podcast relatively recently, a couple months ago, as a way of networking and creating more content, and sharing other people's stories and learning about the world. And it's been really lovely, to meet other people and meet you as well. So yeah.
Nice. I love that. You've gotten out of fear. So many people are fearful of traveling. How am I going to do it? Where do you get from place to place? I got too much stuff or too much responsibility or too
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But to be able to free yourself and then just do that, oh, wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so now I'm diving into more of the subconscious stuff. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention, because I studied electronics, automation, and robotics. I'm from like a very old school, conservative, you could probably call it in the US, small town in the Czech Republic, a very old school mindset. Like even mental health issues didn't exist for my parents. Like, oh, just get over it. Don't, that's why I went online and not to a professional. And spirituality or anything like that, like that was always like, ugh, like from the way I grew up.
Weird.
And then I was always like, oh no, it's
Yep.
all have to be science, all proven, we have to completely understand everything, because I was literally studying physics, right? And then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
while I was doing my research and my own like practical psychology and things like that for my own mental health and more later, in physics we kind of started getting into quantum physics and things like that, and I'm like,
Yes.
this doesn't make sense. We don't actually know like what's happening on this like small energy level, right? And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, maybe some of these other things are possible as well, because well, we can't explain it in other way. We actually just genuinely don't know what it is. And from physics perspective, it literally is just energy circling around itself. And that's what creates matter, atoms and electrons and all of that. So that's what kind of helped me open my mind up to, hmm like maybe these energy healing stuff is more real as well, and there's something more to it, and things like that. And then I started thinking, well, I don't really have to understand how all of it works. You mentioned this before. You don't really have to understand how all of it works to use it or to benefit from it, right? Like, I would use an example of a phone, right? Or a car, even. We all use phones every day. We all drive cars basically every day, right? How many
Yep.
people actually know what's going on inside the car? How is it possible that it starts? How is it possible that it runs? How is it possible that it actually drives, right? How is it turned?
Yep.
People don't know any of that, but we still use it. So I think that's kind of what it became with for me with this metaphysics. With okay, I want to understand it at least to a point that I can use it, utilize it, and then probably go deeper, because I get very, very curious and very obsessive about things like this to learn the inner
Mm-hmm.
workings of it. But I don't really
Mm-hmm.
need to understand any of it um, to use
Mm-hmm.
it. So that's kind of where
Yes.
I'm at. That's where I'm at now. And yeah, like I said, going through the Silva method on Mind Valley these days, and Yeah.
That's amazing. I like the fact that you said, I don't really need to know, because I'm learning, but I don't need to have the scientific backing of it. I just need to educate myself, see how it works. There's stuff out there that's telling me it works, so let's move forward.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What was, from your perspective, either from in your own life or with other people that you've worked with, what was the closest thing or closest things to like a miracle in a way
Mm.
that you've seen happen or that's happened to you?
Oh, I've seen so many. The one that sticks out that's so profound that I'll never forget it. Uh, and and I have to keep repeating it because I got to share it with the world. So the gentleman came to me, was 27. So it was about a year ago. And he played football starting at the age of 8. So he moved up in his world of focusing on football is going to be his thing. Into college, now he's playing college, what I call college pro football. So the Rose Bowl and those other college football games, right? And then the day happened where he destroyed his elbow in a game. And so he had to have 8 surgeries and 3 months of physical therapy. When I work with people, I'm going to put that on pause for a second. When I work with people that have physical challenges to their body, there is an emotional connection tied to that physical challenge. May it be pain, restriction, or whatever. There's always an emotional connection tied to it. His was, this is the end, meaning
Mm.
destroying his elbow. In his mind, he probably thought, I just ended my career. He was months away of getting chosen into the NFL. Literally, that's how close he was. So now, when he came to me through his mother, I saw their entire family and then thousands of her clients. I mean, she had a mountain of clients, and they all flew in to see me all over the place. They came in, and she brought her son, 27. So he laid there and he says, Miss Terrie, I'm handicapped. He could probably move his arm 1/18th up. He couldn't bend it. He couldn't bring it to his body like other people can, or most people. He couldn't bend it at all. And I said, don't own that. No, no. The doctor said that's all I get. Physical therapist said this is the end. That's all you have. You'll never use your arm again. Now he's allowing other people to tell
Mm.
him how his body's going to run. So he was already out of college for a while. He was 27. So he was laying on my table. So what I did was I put both hands and I cupped it around the elbow. When I do energy work, because I've been doing it so long, I start breathing a certain way. When I'm breathing in, I'm visualizing I'm pulling all of Source God energy into me. When I exhale, I'm exhaling it into a certain place that I want to place it in your body. I visualize it, I see it. So I'm putting it through my hands into his elbow. Within minutes, I'm going to tell you less than 2 minutes, I felt this little shimmy. It was just ever so slight. And I sat back and I said, bend your arm. He brought his arm all the way to his
Mm.
chest.
Damn.
He started crying. I started crying. He's like, oh my God. I'm like, what? Because it was a complete miracle. Like,
Whoa.
wow. Because I shifted everything his mind was telling him, everything everyone told him that he couldn't do. I shifted it out of that elbow and he moved it. I said, you're going to come back and we're going to get your arm to the back so you can touch your back, the back of your shoulder. And he did. And we came back and we did it the second time all the way back. And it's healed completely. He can move it.
Whoa.
He's not handicapped. He can move his arm around. He's totally grateful. I'm totally grateful and honored that I was part of that healing. It was so profound. Now I can
Hey,
say it, but it's what I saw and it's like, oh my God. And truly magnificent. And I've had several of those with backs, hips, feet. I'm working with a guy now who, and it's his best friend. It's the other guy's best friend. It was a freak accident, and they were on the basketball, and he was holding his foot a certain way, and this guy comes behind him and hits his leg, his knee, and his knee went backwards. So instead of the
Ooh,
knee folding forward, it bent backwards.
ay, ay, ay.
And so now I'm working with releasing everything about feet represent moving forward, legs represent the support, like legs of a table. So I'm giving you what parts of the body represent. Ankle is the support of moving forward, and left side is mom energy or female energy, right side is dad or masculine energy. And this is all on the masculine side. And so I dug deep and I said, you got somebody to forgive, not just what happened. I said, but this is a deeper level. You're angry over something. And we picked it up. And it was about these guys before it's usually before something happens. It was before the accident.
No.
Something happened between him and these two other guys, and then that happened. So he's going through forgiveness, feeling that he's good enough, doesn't have to live in fear, that he can empower himself. And his leg has healed so much quicker. We have a little bit left because now the foot is dragging just a tiny bit, but he's almost completely healed.
Wow, okay. That's great.
Yep. Yes.
Amazing. Wild
Yes.
and crazy, but yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you very much for sharing your journey and sharing your experiences and your wisdom as well. Would you have any closing statements or closing remarks to leave us with?
Yeah. First off, holidays are coming up, so happy holidays to everyone. And, you know, I mentioned it just briefly, but as part of it, it's so important. And I said gratitude.
Mm,
When I made those decisions to buy the new car and then, trusting and knowing is part of it, but I said gratitude was allowing me the slowness of my movements of moving into the space of where I am today, of being able to see my journey and be grateful for everything in those moments. So lots of people great will happen. And then 5 years down the road, oh yeah, that great thing happened. But they didn't dive deeper or deeply into feeling fully grateful for the experience in the moment. So right now, everyone should be like, I'm so grateful that I'm here listening to this. I'm so grateful that I have a computer or phone to listen to this. I'm so grateful. So it's those extra little things, the deeper, and then God will say, I want to give you more of that you deserve more of that life really is easy because you're so grateful in the present state. So just be grateful for everything, not just these random birthday gift or dinner, but for life and everything that you are creating in it.
beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much. Where can people find you, or what's one place where people can find your work or contact you?
Yeah, thank you so much. My website, terrychristine.com. I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I have my book, The Secret Power of You, on Amazon and also on Love and Marriage DC and yeah, season 1 and 2. So yeah, please find me and reach out and grab. I have a free guided meditation that has theta sound that can
Okay,
take you to the deeper level of the mind.
okay,
It's free, so go to my website at terrychristine.com and it's theta stream. So grab that for you. It's free.
awesome. All right, thank you very much. And yeah, I hope you stay in touch. I'm definitely curious to see how your how your own TV show is gonna go in the next few years. I'm sure you're gonna make it. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having me. I'm truly grateful.